Today we're going to explore an idea that was brought to you by WildcardBattalion. We've done a few modifications here and there to the old drill and build system. First of all, we created this new tunnel that is completely fabricated with lights and a ceiling. The first version, of course, did not. This is 50 blocks long and comes with a projector to continuously extend. It's all pretty much basic. And then we have the new drill and build. This one will be able to do the ceilings and the sides, and it comes with all the amenities the first one did, except for we've changed it out for the drive system. Instead of being a rotor design, now we have free moving wheel suspension. Makes it a lot easier to steer and to go off-road. I had to put the control seat on the back because there just wasn't room enough for a cockpit up front with the new welders. Let me just maneuver this over to our elevator so we can get over to our tunnel and continue to dig. Don't worry, I've elevated the front two pistons so we don't have a problem getting over the ramp. Now you may see on the side here that I've added some drop-down pistons which fit these 1x1 gear right into the slot. The side buffers on our elevator help to put us directly in the center so our pistons and wheel alignments engage immediately to the rail. I'll go over this more in a couple of seconds. Let's just get off this elevator first. As you notice, it does not skip the track or anything because these sets of tri 1x1 gear keep us in place the entire time. Looks like I may have forgotten a block there. These are short suspension 1x1 lefts to match the left side, and then on the right side we did the same thing. These are 3x3 regular wheel suspension, not short. That way it's a little bit wider and gives you more grip inside of your tunnel. Overall, it's a pretty simplistic build, only a few changes. Up here, we have your vertical welder that is connected by conveyor tubes, and your side welders. These side welders are put offset from the front side welders in order to be able to weld the top areas. And then of course we had to flip our survival kit. And we also added this rear camera because it will become handy when you try to leave your tunnel because there's not much room to turn around. Up here I put indicators using text panels to be able to indicate whether our rail pistons are engaged to the rail or not. Comes in handy. And they're all driven by timers and a few event controllers inside this front area. Of course, these front drills are all the same, and we have the camera up front. There's also a strobe light, if you can see it up there, which makes it easier if your tunnel is not quite lit up yet. That's quite a few modifications we did to this thing. But what we were trying to do is take this old design here of the drill and build. As you notice, that does have a cockpit compared to the other one. Primarily all the exact same setup for your drills and your basic welders. And we had this rotor drive over here, which was kind of a bugger to be able to turn or move very quickly. And we had the survival kit over here. What we needed to do is put weird wheels on top of it in order to try to keep in our track, push against the walls per se. But instead, once this exchanger became available, and we have these guide wheels here compared to the other side, we realized that it'll stay in the track the entire time by using these. And they work fairly efficiently on here, but these were rotor driven instead. and there's only 2x2. This allowed our vehicle to go off-road and stay in a rail to continue on the same track. Okay, now that you have kind of an understanding of where it came from and how this design began, oh yes, if you wanted to, this is also a built-in turntable, so you can move from one direction to another at a 90 degree or 180 degree. Anyways, let me go ahead and demonstrate the new drill and build process. Mind you, we're in the groove the entire time. It is going to be very close quarters fitting the head of this through the tunnels. But that's what you want, really. You want it to be so accurate that every single thing can easily be built with our welders and drilled to the right sizing. As you can see, the welder tips just barely miss the walls and the ceiling. The fortunate thing about having the new gear also on here, instead of having the original rotor wheels, is that we can go much faster through our tunnels. As you can see, I've not sped up the video, but we are doing about 40 ms. It did take quite a while to build this, but I think it's worth it. It may speed up our progression, and you could take this thing off-road fairly easy to get it to the new location, wherever you decide to drill and build your next tunnel. I think before we get too far into the tunnel, though, maybe I should go over some of the controls here. Okay, so the problem we have when you propulsion override on is that the right side, for some reason, wants to go backwards. So on key 7, I've inputted an invert option for the propulsion. Then, of course, we have the camera in slot 1, the rail pistons in slot 2. Slot 3 is to start all of our equipment for drilling and welding. Spot 4 is to turn it all off. Number 5 is to hit our propulsion override. And number 6 is to reset the propulsion override. You don't want to just decrease it. It's much better to just turn it off, because if you decrease it to an extent, you'll go backwards. If we keep on cruising through this tunnel, we'll eventually get to our next turntable. I like these simple design turntables because it allows us to go in almost any 90 or 180 degree direction without having to actually turn the drill and build operator. So you don't have to worry about how narrow your tunnels are, because you can still turn your apparatus around. Now we're going to get lined up, and we're still in the rail here. It will match the rail all the way through. You may have to adjust your heights if you do your own turntables. Unfortunately, there's no way for me to really design it to get rid of this little midsection. Now you want to make sure that your drill heads are where there's no built area yet. If the area is already built and you turn on your heads, it's going to basically entangle you inside of these walls. Let me just move this a bit closer and you'll kind of see what I mean. Forward camera. Parking brake released. This is also a drone, so if you prefer not to have to ride on the darn thing to get anything done, you can remote operate it. Now, once we get our drills all the way up to the front wall, you can see that number 3 is going to start this. This is going to kick on your drills. It also lowers your piston for your lower drills, and then turns on your welders. The stop timer does the exact opposite. It turns off your drills first, then raises your pistons, and then turns off your welders. So when we hit number 3 key, you should see those lower drills drop and start chewing through this wall like there's no tomorrow. Now that we have that going, you'll have to hit the number 7 key in order to invert your right side drive, and then your number 5 key in order to propel yourself forward. It's only going to give you a 10% range, and at first it kind of goes at a good clip, but if you need to, you could always turn up the power to your drive wheels. Fortunately, this will continue on going and create a new tunnel after a new tunnel after a new tunnel because of the projectors. Not too bad. We have one small wheel spinning in the front. Maybe we should see about cranking up the power just a bit on this thing. So if we go back to our wheels, make sure you're going by your 3x3 wheels, not the 1x1 suspension. And let's raise it to say 80. 80% should do it. Looks like it's grabbing a little bit harder and pushing a little bit farther. Well, I think we've actually made it quite a few blocks since we started. As you can see, it's definitely welded in new lights, the sidewalls, the upper sidewalls, and the ceiling. This makes it a heck of a lot easier, and as long as you keep to these specific block sizes for your tunnel, you'll be fine. Otherwise, you'll have to modify this apparatus all over again. I don't think it's a big deal. It's kind of fun modifying machinery on this game. Alright, before we get too far ahead, let's make sure both sides are working properly. There doesn't seem to be any hang-up. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, we do have this excess on the bottom that we were not able to get out. Maybe in the future we can figure out a different plan to eliminate that as well. Now, to do the reverse operation, all we have to do is we're going to hit the number 4 key. And then that turns everything back off. Then I'll reverse our camera and we'll just head out. Make sure that you're all the way on this turntable before it engages. This is set up by a sensor, and I give myself 15 seconds to resituate myself before that sensor goes off and turns the table. Now I could go forward, but I have another machine at the end of that tunnel, so I'd rather not run into it. In this case, we're simply going to back out to the beginning where we started. Again, you don't have to go as slow because these rail guides are actually pretty efficient and allow you to go to upper speeds without having a problem or hitting the walls. It may seem slow when you're drilling, but it doesn't take as long to get back out. And there's the sunshine again. I do casually go slow across these turntables just so we don't jump track or hit anything, because the turntables can slightly move and get you off track just like that. Not too bad though. You could always lift your rails, resituate yourself, and put it back down again. Again, to make it a lot easier to put it in the rail in the first place, is to simply put these triangular blocks on the side so your wheels slide downward towards the center of the rail in the first place. And this is a pretty simple elevator system for it. It only takes 2 event controllers and 2 timer blocks, and it indicates to move up or down. Well, that's about it. I hope you like the new improved, modified version of the tunnel drilling build, and it helps you become very successful at your own ambitions. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.